Real quick on the Utah Jazz. Let's talk about this Donovan Mitchell situation, because if you didn't see it yesterday, Tony Jones, the Athletic, I think the best Jazz guy in town, tweeted that Donovan Mitchell is seeing a concussion specialist because he is struggling to get out of protocol, which is to say he's struggling with concussion symptoms. And if you didn't see it, he took a pretty vicious swing through elbow from Russell Westbrook in the Laker game. And that was about 2.5 weeks ago now.
If you go on Sarah Todd's Twitter, she has a video. You can go and find it.
Yeah,
see it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
But it's been a couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks now, that Don has really struggled with this.
Yeah.
I think today is actually 3 weeks today that he had that concussion.
It feels like it's been months.
And yeah, and he's not been able to get back on the floor. And so there is a significant level of fear over Donovan's concussion, as there should be. But what this tells you is that Donovan Mitchell is going to be out for the Jazz for probably at least another week, I would think. And if I'm the Jazz, I don't bring him back until the All-Star break is over in mid-February. So the question that I have to ask, Jake, is should the Jazz tank in 2022 to set themselves up? And by tanking, I mean trade your players. Don't be concerned with the record. You're not intentionally trying to lose. But don't be concerned with winning every game. Don't be concerned with your record. Be more concerned about developing the young talent that you have and setting yourself up for the summer spending spree. Is that the right move for the Jazz?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of credence to it. I think with where you're at in the season with the injuries, not only to Don, I don't think this is a unique to Donovan Mitchell situation. I mean, yes, he's dealing with this, but you got to look at Rudy. We just lost Joe Ingles to a torn ACL. Like, you've had some injuries on this team, and I think that, you know, with where the West is at, I think we can all agree that this Utah Jazz team in its current version is not going to beat the Suns, and you're not going to beat the Warriors, right? To get to the Western Conference Finals and then ultimately to get to the NBA Finals. So to me, I think, yeah, there's a lot of credence to it. I agree with you. It's important to say, no, I don't think you're going to go out and intentionally lose games, which is technically what tanking is. But I do think that, yeah, the mindset should be, hey, we're not as concerned about the record right now and winning every single game and, you know, being pissed if we don't win. But I do think what we need to be concerned about is making sure that Quinn Snyder's on the same page about playing the Elijah Hugheses of the world and continuing to play Jared Butler even though he's been dreadful and, like, continuing to develop these guys' game. And I also think development, you know, doesn't just apply to the young guys. I think Don needs development. I think Rudy Gobert could use some development. I think that Bojan doesn't get any reps, so maybe he could use some more time on the ball. Like, I think there's opportunities across the roster to really get these guys going in a positive direction. And that, to me, is what I would be focused on if I was the Jazz. I think, you know, and this is what you always say. This is your saying. You got to know who you are, where you are, and where you want to go. The Jazz right now are not a championship contender at full strength. They want to be a championship contender, and the only question is, how are you going to go about getting there? And I think you're just in a position right now in this season with the injuries that you have been handed where you are almost out of time. And we talked about this yesterday. Time is running out for you to turn this around and to make something of this season. And so if we can already agree, if we're already in agreement that they're not going to compete for an NBA Finals appearance, then what really are you doing other than wasting your time? That's the question. And that's why I agree, hey, maybe tanking isn't the right way to say it, but let's put the priority on developing the young talent. Let's put the priority on getting these guys healthy. Let's put the priority on next season, the season after that, because that's ultimately when you're going to do your winning.
Yeah, and I think you have to be incredibly pragmatic with Donovan Mitchell. I just think he is your most important player because his upside is massive. Rudy Gobert is at his upside right now. I think he's at his ceiling. I look at Donovan Mitchell. I don't think he's anywhere near his ceiling. And I continue to compare Don to Devin Booker. Devin Booker put in a wonderful performance last night. Gives you 35 more points. Like, he's developing his game. He's diversifying. His defense at times last night was fantastic. And you're looking at a guy in Donovan Mitchell who has that same ability to climb that same ladder and get better and develop and grow and become that franchise icon.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of noise around Donovan Mitchell, and does he want to stay here? Is he going to be a New York Knick? like so many people yesterday, and Jake jokingly said it when we started talking about this morning, but there's so many people saying, oh, Don's just trying to find a way out. Oh, this concussion? No, he just doesn't want to play for Utah. I just don't buy that.
Yeah.
I think Donovan Mitchell is dealing with very serious issues related to his brain. Take your time.
Yeah.
If everybody's healthy, Hundo P, bruh, they're not winning a championship. So take your time with Donovan Mitchell. Make sure that Rudy Gobert's calf doesn't turn into an Achilles.
Yeah.
Right? Like, take your time, because those are the things that happen. You only get one brain with Donovan Mitchell, right? I'll just transplant my brain. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you're not repairing your brain the way you're repairing Joe Ingles' ACL.
And that's why I say, like, you're watching the deconstruction of this team right now in front of you. Take your time. There's no reason to rush through this. There is no reason to push Don back into a uniform, because, frankly, winning every game is not what's most important right now. Setting yourself up for the future, putting yourself in the best position to compete in free agency this summer, to have 2023 and 2024 be years where you are moving to an NBA championship, that's what matters. You have a tremendous fan base that's passionate, that will support this organization no matter what direction you go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell should be your priority. There is no doubt he should be your priority. I mean, Jazz fans, I'm curious where you come down on, because I don't think the right verbiage is tanking.
No, it's not.
You're not tanking to, we're tanking to get a draft pick. Well, are you really, though? Are you really? I think what you're trying to do is set yourself up, because no matter what happens this season, you're not taking your draft pick, right? So you're not trying to set yourself up to draft. You're trying to set yourself up financially to be in a better position to remake your roster and be in a more competitive, younger situation a year from now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to me, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I completely agree with it. 100%. I'm 100% with you on that. And I think the Jazz, and specifically, I think Danny Ainge would never advocate for trying to lose. I think and it's true, there is a big difference between trying to lose and putting the emphasis on development and not caring if you win or lose, but caring, hey, what was the plus minus tonight? What are the turnovers? What are the areas where we can improve in individuals' games to get to a better team quality? And that's what I think they need to try to do. I think, you got to figure out, I truly believe, no matter what this team turns into, after all the trades and everything like that, I truly believe that this team will forever be defined by the relationship between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And I think that that's the beginning and the end for this team right now, regardless of a Joe Ingles injury or Jared Butler being crap the last, 5-6 games, or you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff, that's all fringe perimeter type stuff. Like, the core issue of this team now, and basically, as long as these two are on the same team, is their relationship. Because if Don is not going to play pick and roll and feed Rudy when the situation dictates it, they're never going to get to where they need to go. So I just think that that's where the club needs to start.
I think, excuse me, the cough is still here. Anyway, the point is, I'm a casual. The point is that I think you have to, I like Trent Forrest. Trent Forrest is a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. Show me who Trent Forrest is the last month of the season. Show me who he is over the last 29 games. That's what I want to see. Make or break
29 games.
Make or break on Trent Forrest. Show me what Jared Butler can become. Let him make a whole ton of mistakes now so he doesn't make them in the future. Show me what these kids can do. You're going to make the playoffs, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
That's going to make all of these young guys better. What's Elijah Hughes look like shooting a three in March and April with a playoff spot on the line? I want to see. Show me that Donovan Mitchell can be something other than a ball hog. Show me that Donovan Mitchell can be a distributor. Show me what Jordan Clarkson's value on the trade market is. Show me what you're going to get for Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yes.
Get somebody to give you second-round picks for Bojan Bogdanovic, right? You're not trading Joe now. I don't think there's any doubt that, and I was listening to Spence yesterday, and one of the local media members was calling Robert Covington Rocco.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
Never.
Never. His name is Robert Covington. stop.
Come on, man.
And trading for Robert Covington is a disaster.
Yeah, it doesn't help you in any way.
Don't. Now, the Harrison Barnes stuff, the Harrison Barnes deal is probably dead. Unless because you were including Joe Ingles in a Harrison Barnes deal. I don't think you were ever getting a Harrison Barnes straight up from Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you have other assets that you can plug in and get more in return than Joe Ingles now. The bummer is he's got an expiring contract that you won't be able to leverage now. Then again, I mean, I guess that money will come off your books next season. But my point is, do what you can do. I will again say, I'm not married to Jordan Clarkson. I'm not married to Bojan Bogdanovic. If you can move those guys, move them.
Yeah.
If you can move a Hassan Whiteside, move him. If you can move a Rudy Gay, move him.
Yeah.
Hell, if you can move Mike Conley, trade him. Mike is still one of the better point guards in this league, and he has value to a playoff team.
Yeah.
There is no now. Does he have the value? I don't know. Who's more valuable, Brunson in Dallas or Conley in Utah? Probably Conley in Utah. Brunson's a guy that the Mavericks have talked about trading. He is going to get paid.
And they're not excited about trading him.
I don't know that Dallas wants to pay him, but I know they don't want to trade him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I was talking about the other day when I was talking to an NBA guy, he was saying he knows Dallas doesn't want to trade Brunson.
Yeah.
But I think they're in a real tough position with being, again, you want to talk about a team that might be built around the wrong guy. Is Luka Doncic a guy you want your entire franchise built on?
Yeah, he's got some proving to do.
Anyway, my point is the Jazz should be looking to remake their roster to put themselves financially in a position to compete.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the guys on Twitter just now, Dad of Boys, said, and how exactly does tanking accomplish that? Well, because what it allows you to do is you're moving contracts off your books. You know what? Like you're moving Mike Conley's money or Bogdanovic's money. I don't think they'll trade Mike Conley. That's just me, but whatever. You're moving Jordan Clarkson's money. You're moving Bojan's money. You're moving contracts, your upper-end contracts, and you're plugging younger guys into that spot. And then next summer, when you're not paying luxury tax or as much luxury tax, you have a little more flexibility to go out and rebuild.
Yeah.
Right? And hopefully you're getting second-rounders. I don't see any way they end up with a first-round pick. I don't.
Yeah.
You'd have to trade Rudy Gobert to get a first-round pick. And I just don't see them, I don't know that there's the wherewithal in the fan base right now for the Jazz to trade Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
I don't. I, again, will say the same thing that I said 3 weeks ago now. The Jazz would trade Rudy Gobert. If they could trade Rudy Gobert, I am told they would absolutely make that deal. The only guy that's untouchable on this roster right now is Donovan Mitchell, and I have no doubt in my mind that if they could trade Rudy Gobert, they would.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those things where you love Rudy's defense, but at $41 million a year on average, it just the loss is too much.
I just want to say, I still give Rudy's representation a lot of credit for getting his ass $41 million a year. That is some kind of accomplishment.
I say more power to you, Rudy.
Bro.
You're worth what you can get paid, and somebody was willing to pay you over $200 million.
I'm going to say this again.
Congratulations. I don't blame Rudy Gobert for his contract.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't blame Rudy Gobert for the Clipper loss. It's not his fault. He is playing, to me, he is playing at his highest, best ability. That's what he is.
Yeah.
You know what? And I look at, it's the same thing I say about Court. I look at Jaren Hall. This is a perfect example with Jaren Hall. Jaren, what are you doing in the offseason to make sure that next year you can play every game? What are you doing this offseason to build your body into being able to take hits? What does Tom Brady do? What does LeBron James do?
Well, we know what Tom Brady does.
Yeah, steroids. And he eats Giselle's he eats Giselle's Bunchton.
I have never taken steroids.
It's lidocaine and B12, please.
Lidocaine and B12.
My point is, guys like Tom Brady and LeBron James, look at Michael Jordan's story. Like the best athletes in the world in the history of athletics pump millions of dollars into their body.
I have never taken steroids.
Right? They pump millions of dollars into their development. If Chris Brickley and Carmelo Anthony never met, is Carmelo Anthony in the NBA right now?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure something out.
He's not.
No.
But he paid Chris Brickley stacks of cash, worked on his jumper, and now he's a knockdown mid-range and three-point shooter. who was in demand in the offseason.
Lost a bunch of weight, got back in shape.
I'm telling you, that's what this team needs. That's what Donovan Mitchell needs. That's why I love that he's a Brickley guy. That's why Elijah Hughes paying Chris Brickley to develop him. That tells you where Elijah's mind is. Give the guy minutes. He's produced for you.
Yeah, and that jump shot is nice.
I already know what Jordan Clarkson is. I already know what Bojan Bogdanovic is. I already know what Rudy Gobert is.
But how much of like the Jordan Clarkson struggles or the bogey struggles or just the struggles of this team, how much of that is around just the feel of this season? Because I do think there's some credence to what some of the media is saying about, man, the season has just felt dreadful. It's just felt negative. It's just felt like kicking up balls.
You didn't get better in the offseason.
Yeah.
How much heat did we take over the summer for saying this is not a championship team?
You're casual.
Oh, do you guys even watch Jazz basketball? Well, my question is, do you watch the rest of the NBA? Because I do.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't
Seriously.
care. I know you watch Jazz basketball.
Yeah.
Do you know who Jonathan Kuminga is? Do you know who these young guys around the league? Anthony Edwards.
John Morant.
Are you watching LaMelo Ball develop into one of the best playmakers already in the NBA?
Shaq comparing LaMelo Ball to Penny Hardaway on an interview on NBA on TNT.
Which I thought was a really good comparison. Like, as a playmaker, it's there, man. Like, I look at all the young talent around the Western Conference.
Yeah, dude.
It's terrifying. I look at all the young talent around the Eastern Conference. It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize the Milwaukee Bucks are a game and a half out of first in the East? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a team. You look at the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls are winning with a bunch of guys you've never heard of.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. Evan Mobley is a stud.
Darius Garland.
Is a stud. Like,
Kevin Love is resurging.
Look at Kevin Love playing with his back to the basket, openly talking about using the Kobe fade. Like, you look at the rest of the league, the Jazz stood still. The rest of the league kept on walking. And some teams kept on running because they're getting Klay Thompson back.
Yeah, dude.
Some teams are running already because they're getting Paul George and Kawhi Leonard back.
And some teams can't get up off the ground because Anthony Davis won't get healthy.
And then everybody's like, oh, the Lakers are a joke. They're old. Well, what's going to happen when they trade for John Wall?
After the street clothes Davis.
Now, LeBron's hurt. He's got this knee injury. But what are they doing? They're not rushing him back. Are the Lakers at all panicked that they're not one of the top 6 teams in the NBA? They're not. They're not. Because what are they going to do? They're going to let LeBron get healthy through the All-Star break. They're not going to rush him back.
What's the difference then between the Lakers and the Jazz, in your opinion?
I think it's mindset. The Lakers view themselves right now today as competing for an NBA championship. So they're desperate. Losing is not an option for the LA Lakers.
Yeah.
For the Utah Jazz, not only is losing an option, it's an expectation. You and your fan base expect not to win a championship every single year. And now Ryan Smith has showed up and he said, hey, look, I got $1 billion. This isn't good enough anymore. So Dennis Lindsey, hit the road. I'm bringing in Justin Zanuck. I'm going to elevate him. I'm bringing in a minority owner that has NBA experience in Dwayne Wade. And then I'm going to put in Danny Ainge, my good friend from BYU, who's got experience building championship contenders and championship winners.
You ain't first, you're last.
So now everybody's like, you can't trade Rudy Gobert. Watch me.
What are you, nuts?
Watch me. Watch me trade this roster. Watch me remake this roster. By the way, when they do it and they bring in different talent, you're going to go back to the team store and you're going to have them heat press you new jerseys for the Jazz.
You have a deal.
Because they're going to win. But Jazz fans are so sure, and they assume that the Jazz are going to lose because there's not a championship culture or history here. But I look at a team like Golden State. Golden State expects to win an NBA championship this year. The Phoenix Suns expect to win an NBA championship this year because they're better this year than they were last year. And what did they do? Did they go out and make sweeping roster changes? No, they didn't. But you know what they did? They went and got a little addition like JaVale McGee, who's got rings on rings.
Like Landry Shamet.
He's been there. He's done that. Like, they went and got little additions who've been where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Chris Paul, who by all accounts spent a bunch of money in the offseason building his body. I look at Devin Booker. Devin Booker is a superior offensive player this year to who the guy was last year. The Jazz need to do that. The Jazz need to have the belief that if I don't make the Western Conference Finals, if I don't make the NBA Finals, it's a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not good enough. And here's how you know that that's not the culture around the Utah Jazz. Because Donovan Mitchell is telling, supposedly, if you believe the rumors, he's telling people, and his people around him are allegedly saying, hey, you know what? All I want is to be in a larger market where I can win a championship. And the shit hit the fan as soon as that came out.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
If you're a Jazz fan, you should be like, hot damn, finally. We have a guy who only wants to win championships. Let's do it. But you're so concerned about Rudy Gobert, who you can't win a championship with, and who has never talked about winning a championship, who has never won a championship, who even on his Olympic team was supposedly the most important player, didn't play the last 5 minutes of the gold medal game, and Evan Fournier took that game over. And you're so worried about building around him, and you're so pissed that Donovan Mitchell supposedly, and by the way, I have it on really good sourcing, that Donovan Mitchell told the Utah Jazz, I want to win a championship. And the Jazz said to him, so do we, so we're going to build a roster around you. We're going to do everything we can do financially and player development-wise to win a championship. And you're so upset about that you're siding with a guy in Rudy Gobert who's at his ceiling and has never won a championship and has never won anything in his basketball career. And you're willing to throw away the prototypical championship player in Donovan Mitchell because he said he wants to win.
Shame.
So who's wrong and who's right? I got news for you. Donovan Mitchell's right. You're wrong. Donovan Mitchell's attitude is right. Your attitude is wrong. Because that's what you need. You need a mentality that if I don't win a championship, I failed.
Facts.
That's it. What is Karl Malone known for? Being the best player who's never won a championship.
Y'all feel me?
You want to be Karl Malone or you want to be Donovan Mitchell? Because I'll take Donovan Mitchell. Period.
So you better check yourself.
Okay, I feel better.
Good. I mean, hey, that was excellent.
You know.
Excellent.
You know. Shamet has not been good at all.
They don't need him to be good right now, bro. They need him to make shots in the postseason.
You know. Eric
JaVale
and Raleigh
McGee has been
says,
very good.
Eric and Raleigh says, the Warriors are legitimate championship contenders this year and already have the next generation to stay at the top with Kuminga and Moody.
Yep. Don't
To
even
which-
mention Wiseman.
James Wiseman is the guy that I would point to, but I think they're going to trade. I think they'll trade Wiseman. I think Kuminga is really showing them that
He's the guy.
he's got the top side.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kuminga is, I know I've espoused out there. I got ripped on Twitter for this the other day too. I love the guy. I think it's up. Yeah. Slurp it up, baby. I think Jonathan Kuminga is
Stud.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yatala C says, how is CP3 36 years old? Some players in the Jazz should learn from him. True.
Yeah.
Jeremy Bolton says, boom, Jaron Hall has been working his arse off per his Instagram in the offseason to be able to stay healthy. Jaron Hall talk is the best talk. To his credit, Jaron Hall has supposedly, when I was talking to a BYU guy about Jackson Dart, one of the things that one of the BYU guys I talked to said is Jaron Hall is all in on football. And in the past, Jaron Hall has not been all in on football. And the injury to the shoulder is what changed his perspective.
What do you bench?
He got landed on in the ASU game down there, TDS's home in Provo.
Yeah.
When they played ASU, they landed on his shoulder. And he wound up, that really changed his perspective. So this season, this offseason into the summer, he is all out. He's sold out on getting his body into football shape and being able to withstand the beating that a football season requires of you in college. And I think he's going to make or break in spring football. Spring football this year I think spring football is where he's going to write his legacy.
Yeah.
I truly do. He needs to be an elite quarterback the minute that they blow the first whistle at spring football.
Yeah.
All the way through fall camp, all the way through next January.
Yeah.
Jaron Hall's got to be the guy because he has a chance. Jaron Hall, now that he supposedly has gotten very serious about his physique, he has a chance to be a really elite football player.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I've always told you is your best ability is your availability. And he, for 2 years, has not been available. So let's hope that changes.